Zombies are here. It may not be what you think. I mean, if you see zombies, you're going to nuanced. They're not, as a rule, known for being sublime. There's a zombie apocalypse, okay? It's happening. You've not a subtle moment. This is not nuanced. So, the concept of the zombie, the way I think of the zombie, the trope of the zombie, is intricately tied to escape, to the notion of escape. Philosophers, I need their help. And why? Well, philosophers love zombies. They do. I'm not making that up. If you look in the literature, there are tons of articles.
Doktor Steven'ın zombiler hakkında verdiği konferansı sizler için derledim. Fakat isterseniz önce Doktor Steven kimdir bir tanıyalım. Harvard Tıp Okulu'nda psikiyatri alanında yardımcı doçent olması gibi biyografi bilgileri ekranda yer alıyor. Ben ise bilinmeyen bir şeyden bahsetmek istiyorum. Neden zombi? Aslında Steven'ın neden zombi sorusuna saatlerce yanıt verebilirim. Ancak kısa tutmak adına Steven psikolojik rahatsızlıklar üzerinde araştırma yaparken birebir zombilerle karşılaşıyor. Evet, yanlış duymadınız. Tam olarak zombi hareketleri. Buna sebep olan şey ise farklı uyuşturucu etkileriydi. Bundan sonra ise Doktor Steven farklı meslektaşlarından yardım alarak zombi anatomisini oluşturuyor. Bunun gerçek olabileceğini ortaya koyuyor. Hatta benim şu an okuduğum Zombi Otopsisi kitabını kaleme aldı. Benim anlatmak istediklerim bu kadardı. Konferansın devamını Türkçe altyazılı bir şekilde sizinle paylaşacağım. Ancak ufak bir not. Doktor Steven'ın gerek psikolog kimliği, gerekse felsefi bir anlatım ve örneklendirme yapmasından dolayı bahsetmek istediklerinde çıkartım yapmanız zor olacak ve üzerine düşünmeniz gerekecek. Ve son bir not. Bizi açıklama kısmındaki link ile Instagram üzerinden takip edebilirsiniz. Hepinize iyi seyirler.
So, zombies are here. It may not be what you think. I mean, if you see zombies, you're going to want to run, right? And this is about escape. That's the theme today. Escape. Except, I don't know, man. When I think of escape, I think of something different. I think of the South Pacific. I think of majestic mountains. I think of movies or books. The main ingredients of an escape. I mean, features of what it takes to get away. And why do I say that? Well, we've all come back from vacation, right? We've sat in something like this, one of these cubicles, and yes, sometimes we feel like we got away, but other times we don't, man. It's awful. And some of those massively unsatisfying vacations have taken place in those same majestic mountains, those same tropical paradises. So those can't be the main ingredients. It just doesn't make sense. I think escape is something smaller. I think it's inside of us. I mean, when you get away, when you really get away, you sigh less. You might not even sigh at all. Your back doesn't bother you. And these changes happen seamlessly. They might even happen unconsciously. So what I'm getting at is that escape is nuanced, it's subtle, it's sublime. But that poses a problem for my topic today, right? I mean, zombies? They're not so nuanced. They're not, as a rule, known for being sublime. So let's reboot this whole scenario. Let's go back to that tropical island, but this time there's a zombie apocalypse, okay? It's happening. You've seen the movies, this is not a surprise. So they're coming out of the palm trees and they're staggering like this, and one of them reaches forward and grabs your spouse and takes a bite out of her cheek. And you know there's nothing you can do, but you've seen the movies, so you're gonna go help her. And your buddy, he's seen the movies too, he knows his lines. He says, "Leave her, man, leave her, she's dead, she's already bit, it's over." This is not a subtle moment. This is not nuanced. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to make the case for all of you that the concept of the zombie, the way I think of a zombie, the trope of the zombie, is intricately tied to escape, to the notion of escape? I just told you escape is sublime, and I told you that zombies are not sublime. They're not nuanced. And yet, there's zombies in the room right now. Then riddle, what is the sound of nuance as you're running through life from a zombie? And that's harder than the one about the guy with one hand clapping. So I think what we need to do is turn to the philosophers. I need their help. And why? Well, philosophers love zombies. They do. I'm not making that up. If you look in the literature, there are tons of articles about zombies in the philosophical literature, and that's because there's a whole school of philosophy devoted to the study of consciousness. And what's the key question when you discuss consciousness with philosophers? It's how do you know that being conscious is the same thing as being aware? That's their big question. Now, this might strike you as silly. You might say to yourself, well, wait a minute. If I'm taking in data, if I'm in the South Pacific and I breathe that salty air, that I feel that breeze, I'm aware and I'm conscious. They're the same thing. But that's precisely why the philosophers love zombies. They'll ask you very seriously. They'll say, could a zombie be rescued from his admittedly and therefore escape? Now, if you've ever spent time with philosophers, you know that they will have a crystal clear, very straightforward answer. They will sit you down and they will say it depends on how you define zombie, and they'll say it depends on how you define human, and most importantly, they'll say it depends on how you define that messy space in between. What I'm going to argue today is that messy space in between, it's getting messier. Those worlds are colliding, especially in our modern world. And that's a problem. Because remember, what's the key concept when we talk consciousness with philosophers? It's how do we know that being aware is the same thing as being conscious? And they will tell you that a zombie can be conscious but not aware. We can be aware. And because zombies are cautionary tales, they remind us that by being aware, we can escape the everyday being aware we have, in fact, escaped. I mean, think about it. What is the most heart-wrenching moment in any zombie film? It's the transition moment. It's the moment when the poor soul who's been bit is more zombie than human, but still human enough to know that he's not going to be human for much longer. And his loved ones watch on as his awareness leaks out of him. And he begs them, he says, kill me, man, kill me before I turn, before I transition. You've seen that 1,000 times in Walking Dead. And it is silly, because once you transition, once you've become a zombie, you won't remember what it's like to be human when we watch The Walking Dead. I think unless we're very careful in this modern society, we run the very real risk of engaging in the oxymoron of zombie consciousness. Why do I say that? Because the forces that turn us into zombies are everywhere. I mean, how did you reading, right? So they are zombifying you, right? They refuse to acknowledge shopping mall. That's a screenshot from Dawn of the Dead. If you see no other zombie film, see Dawn of the Dead, the original. What was Romero saying there? He was saying that you don't need a contagion or radiation or the rage virus to turn into a zombie. What you need is a shopping mall. You need the mindless consumerism of Black Sunday, Black Friday, whatever the new day is that turn us into zombies. This stuff of modern society, some might even say the stuff of civilized society, it's everywhere. But you know what? I think that can rescue us as well, because we're pack animals, right? Zombies are pack animals too. They don't know that they're pack animals. We know that we're pack animals, and because of that, zombies don't get married. Zombies don't have a prom. We have these things because within the pack, we have to distinguish ourselves as being special. That's actually absolutely me. If a zombie is going to eat my intestines, I'd like it to be about my intestines. It's not about me, right? And that is maddening in this world. That is maddening for our species, that onslaught of anonymity that the zombie trope pushes on us. Let's see how it can go south on you. Zombies all over the medical world. Colonoscopies, okay? An amazing procedure. I mean, nothing else has screened so successfully for a horrific disease, colon cancer. And the technology itself is amazing. I mean, you thread this wire through the GI tract, and in a millisecond, your inside is visible to the outside. You can tie it in a knot and see through it. That's how amazing the fiber optics are. But now, those of you over 50, and those of you under 50 who've had a colonoscopy, think back to that colonoscopy. So the night before you do the prep, and whoever called it go lightly when you do that prep, but you do it, right? And you make it through the night, and you show up the next morning, and you feel kind of proud that you made it through, but you're also worried because you know they're screening for colon cancer, or maybe there's another reason. Maybe they found blood. Maybe they're actually looking for something that they think might be there, and you've got a wife, and you've got kids, and a dog, and a job, and you're scared. And then what happens? They hand you a Johnny, the audience path, unless we push back against it. Look, if you want to go someplace and see people turn into zombies without a contagion, go to the DMV, okay? You arrive, they take away your name, they give you a number, you stand in this long line and you shuffle forward, and I gotta tell you, zombies don't care about the DMV. It doesn't bother them. They eat the person in front of them and they move on. That's it, okay? We don't like the DMV. When something robs us of our personhood, when something doesn't recognize us as unique and special, we react with violence and hate and rage. This woman from The Walking Dead is killing that zombie. Do you think that zombie cares? No, zombie doesn't care. Zombie won't even remember. She can't stand that that zombie doesn't care, so she's going to kill that zombie. If you give a man a shotgun and you show him a zombie right there, the chances are he'll use the last of his ammunition to blow that zombie's head off. He doesn't have to. All he's got to do is walk slightly faster this way, right? I mean, you can eat a sandwich while you're getting away from a zombie. That's how easy it is. They can't open windows, but he won't. He's going to use the last of his ammunition, and he's going to blow off that zombie's head, precisely because that zombie steals from him everything that he thinks matters, everything that makes a movie only about zombies. They would just bump into each other the whole movie. You would get bored. The scariest thing about a zombie movie is how we respond to the zombies, and even worse, how we respond to each other. That guy with the shotgun, he's going to blow the head off that zombie, and he's going to blow off the head off that zombie, and then that zombie, and pretty soon he's going to run out of zombies, and he's going to start blowing the head off other humans, and before you know it, he will have become the very thing he's fighting against, even though he has the brain to know better, right? That's the most savage nightmare of modern existence. But we can't do that. Zombies can't go to the DMV and find the...
Bu tarz bilgi içeriklerinden anında haberdar olmak için kanalımıza abone olabilir, destek için videoyu beğenebilirsiniz. Üstelik yazılı paylaşımlarımız, anket ve testlerimize katılmak isterseniz açıklama kısmında bıraktığım Instagram sayfamızın linkine tıklayarak direkt olarak Instagram sayfamıza geçiş yapabilirsiniz. Sağlıcakla kalmanız, kimsenin düşünemediklerini düşünmeniz ve kimsenin fark edemediklerini görmeniz dileğiyle.